Hey, I want to make a video today because of a comment I got from a viewer in my live chat the other day. I think it might have been Pinch Me Vampire. I'm not really sure who it was. I forget. But they asked me to please explain to their girlfriend why we hate Antifa because she seems to think that they're an okay group. Well, a lot of people think Antifa is okay, so I'm sure she's not the only one that does that because it's marketing, because their name is Antifa, they're anti-fascist, and people go, well, why wouldn't we all be anti-fascists? We don't like fascists, right? And I'm like, well, no, we don't like fascists, but here's the thing, Antifa is not anti-fascists. That's just marketing. That's like certain hate groups changing their name to something different so that people forget that they're a hate group. Antifa is about anarchy through violence and fear. They're not about anti-fascism. That's like if I created an organization called, the Pink Fuzzy Bunny Huggers. And people go like, well, everybody likes to hug pink fuzzy bunnies, right? Well, that'd be great if that's what we did, if we actually went around and hugged pink fuzzy bunnies. But if what we really do is go around paint swastikas on Jewish-owned businesses, well, then that's not really what we're about then, is it? That title's kind of misleading. But a lot of people might think we're okay if they don't pay real close attention to what we're doing. And that's kind of what happens with Antifa. Antifa is not about anti-fascism. It's not about being against a fascist state. It's like I said, it's just about anarchy through fear and through violence. That being said, he said, tell us why we should hate Antifa. Well, I don't hate Antifa. Now, I know this is where a lot of people go, he said he doesn't hate Antifa. Well, I don't, because here's the thing. For you to hate something, that thing has to occupy a part of your brain. You have to have a little bit of fear involved to hate something. And I don't fear Antifa at all. I don't find them scary. I find them pathetic more than anything else. I don't find them, on an individual basis, if you met any single individual Antifa member, you ain't going to be scared of them. And even as a group, they're not really that scary. For one, there's not very many of them. I think people love to overinflate how many actual Antifa members are out there. I live in Antifa Central. I live in the Pacific Northwest, Portland, Seattle, etc. Whenever we have an event or whenever they have a rally where Antifa's present, there's usually like 8 of them. There's more people there because those people that think it's about anti-fascism show up for the event, and then the actual 8 to 12 Antifa members go around, break windows, set things on fire, and incite violence. But there's not very many of them. In fact, when they actually pull their money together and get a Greyhound ticket to bring them in from Seattle and Portland and everything all at the same time, there's usually like 24 of them tops. And like I said, this is Antifa Central. And I've been there, I've seen them, I've watched them get off the buses, I've noticed which ones are which. Most of the people there are just dupes. They're just people who think they're there fighting fascism when really they're there as a shield for Antifa to sow violence. But like I said, I don't hate them because I find them pathetic. I think most people that are in Antifa right now will age out of it. Because I'm not really concerned about Antifa because I know most of their members will age out of it. As soon as they have to have a job and pay their bills, they'll age out of it. They'll be like, what the fuck were we doing? I guess I was just angry. Maybe they just need therapy maybe. Because a lot of them are a bunch of spoiled little white kids who the only adversity they've ever faced in life, like I've said before, is that, they wanted a Viper for their 16th birthday and daddy got them a Corvette instead. So now they're fighting against the man. That's most of Antifa. The rest of it is homeless kids. Just homeless kids. That's all it is. Angry, homeless kids whose only way they know to speak out is violence. But still, just a bunch of homeless kids. They're not scary. I've had face-to-face confrontations with Antifa, never felt one moment of fear during any of them. So I don't hate them. Like I said, hate requires fear as far as I'm concerned. I just find them kind of disgusting and kind of sad. Kind of pathetic. And I think they won't be around long because you can't maintain a membership of angry, spoiled white kids and homeless people. That's just not going to stay very cohesive for very long. In fact, if the media didn't give them as much attention as they give them, they'd already be done for. But the media has, and the politicians have a vested interest in maintaining them as a group so that they have a boogeyman to scare everybody with. And that's the whole point. It's all about fear. Now, I know fear's big in the gun community now. We live in a fear culture in the gun community, and I think it's disgusting because I think it's destroying the gun community. What happened to people being fucking men and not being afraid of their own fucking shadow every time someone tells them that somebody's out to get them or someone's going to do something bad? I know fear sells products. It sells more guns. When people are afraid and angry, they buy more ammo, more body armor, and apparently more coolers nowadays too. So fear is a great selling factor. But fear is a factor only when you don't care about the overall health of your community. When you just care about getting them dollars now. Because when you create a base of just scared, angry people, well, most people don't want anything to do with them. Because most people don't want to be that. So when we try to cultivate that community in the gun community, that scared, angry gun owner, well, all we're doing is killing ourselves. We're just driving ourselves out of existence to where no one cares about defending the Second Amendment anymore because they don't want to be associated with us. So those people that are using fear to sell things, they're destroying the gun community. And like any group that uses fear as their tactic, they will eventually collapse. Now, the people that are salesmen don't care because they got their profit. They move on to something else. A lot of people are selling stuff in the gun community now. Before, we're selling car parts, or we're selling subprime mortgages, or we're selling something. And now they're just selling it to the gun community through fear. So they'll move on to something else. Antifa people their whole organization is based on people being afraid of them. Eventually, when people aren't afraid of them and no one pays any attention, they'll also fade away. Because you can't maintain something that's based solely on fear. And that's all Antifa is. So to answer his question, please tell her why we hate Antifa. Like I said, I don't. I think, like I said, you have to fear something at least a little bit. Like I dislike broccoli. I think a lot of people conflate dislike with hatred. I dislike broccoli. I don't hate it because it doesn't occupy any of my consciousness. It doesn't take up space in my brain, broccoli. Whenever it comes near me, I'm like, no, thank you. I don't be like, broccoli, I got to buy a hammer to smash all the broccoli, which is the selling tactic in the gun community now. But like I said, don't hate them. I find them repugnant. I find them disgusting, but I also find them kind of irrelevant. And in the long term, like I said, I do believe they will be irrelevant. And the only reason people actually think that Antifa has bigger numbers than it does is because they use that little name, that anti-fascism, to disguise their real intent. So they get people to show up and act as a shield for their agenda. So there's not enough of them to worry about. They're not at all scary. They won't ever have any real power in this country. You can't have power in this country just going around smashing windows. If they come to your neighborhood, be able to defend your property. That's all I got to say. Because you see what happens when they jumped that guy in Albuquerque. Now, I'm not saying he didn't give him reason to, but once he pulled a gun, fired a shot, did any other ones attack him? No, they decided, oops, we're out of our league here. I guess our skateboards and knives didn't do a lot of good. So don't worry about Antifa. Definitely don't be afraid of Antifa. Just know they exist, and if you see they're around, pay attention to the ones you know are going to be trouble, because those are the people that need to be locked up. Maybe if they get locked up in juvie and go get some therapy, etc., maybe they'll eventually become productive members of society. But for now, like I said, don't hate them. I just don't think they're important enough, and I definitely ain't afraid of them.